6 agreements that make the workplace work. Think for just a moment about your last week at work and the difficulties and frustrations you may have had. Many studies, combined with our experience and the experience of our clients, would suggest that up to 80% of those difficulties relate, at some level, to aspects of human behaviour, very often how we communicate, and how we interact with each other. Where communication and work-based behaviours are inappropriate, ownership, accountability, and performance are compromised because work colleagues or the team you manage will be anxious or tense. This video will outline 6 agreements that make your workplace work. If you need more support with any of them, speak with your line manager about accessing one of the CCO coaches or booking into the next workplace training session on 6 agreements that make your workplace work. Acknowledgement. Your colleagues and team do great work each day, but very often they don't experience this because they don't feel appreciated. It is important to express gratitude by finding your own way of saying thank you in a way that is sincere and meaningful. It is also one of the most effective ways of motivating your team and having them experience being valued. Just be specific and acknowledge the precise behaviour or task. Acknowledgement is not about saying thank you at every given opportunity. It is, however, about letting people know when they've done a particularly good job. It works well when you do this in public, but remember it must be sincere. Don't forget the brain can quickly distinguish when it's not heartfelt, or worse, when it's used just before you need to call in a favour. Listening. Often confused with hearing, listening is a skill and not one of our 5 senses. When listening is absent, workplace difficulties never really get closed out. This often leads to disengagement or apathy because people simply don't get understood. It makes good business sense to listen, be that with customers or work colleagues, yet it's something that we don't always do well. There are a few levels of listening, but 2 that we need to draw your attention to right now. Level 1 listening is all about you, not the other person, which explains why it's not so effective when working as part of a team. You will notice it with colleagues who are just waiting to interrupt, or you may have noticed it yourself when trying to work out how to respond when someone is speaking, or when that little voice in your head starts asking questions while others are talking. Level 2 listening is generally more effective for really understanding what the other person is talking about, what their concerns are, or what they're requesting. It's all about not interrupting unnecessarily whilst others speak and listening to understand what they're saying and what's not being said. A characteristic of level 2 listening is that you are willing to see it from their viewpoint, not your own. This means putting your own opinion and thoughts on hold and really trying to understand what is being said. Just because you listen, it doesn't mean that you must agree. However, the prerequisite to disagreeing is that you fully understand their viewpoint and what they're saying. So rather than giving someone a good talking to, who can you give a good listening to today? Speaking straight. Let's start by talking about what speaking straight is not. It's not having a rant, gossiping, or just complaining. It's certainly not about telling people exactly what you think and having a lot of evidence to support this opinion. All of this is speaking your mind, a dangerous and unhelpful habit that can creep into the workplace. When this shows up, it is destructive and seldom resolves anything. Speaking straight is quite different. It is clean, uncluttered, and purposeful communication that involves 3 steps. Step 1. Direct your criticism at the behaviour that doesn't work, never the person. For example, that they often promise to get a job or task completed, but don't. Step 2. State your opinion about why this doesn't work. For example, I'm never left with any certainty about whether you will do what you agreed to do on time. Step 3. Make a clear and direct request. Stop talking and wait for the answer. When you ask a question, pause and wait for the answer. There's a much greater chance that the agreed action will be delivered when you take the time to wait on their response to your question. Speaking straight deals with the issues in a clear, effective manner, but it takes confidence and courage. With practice, you will become masterful. Accountability. If you are looking for one agreement to make the greatest impact in your workplace, it must certainly be accountability. Simply stated, accountability is about doing what you said you would do by when you said you would do it. Be mindful about what you commit to and then make it happen. Just do what you agreed. On those occasions when you realize, for whatever reason, that it's not possible, you must immediately be in communication so that expectations are managed. Handle this in person or by phone rather than email. Your work colleagues may not appreciate the delay, but you will have managed their expectations with integrity and transparency. Being in communication when you need to recommit to a new delivery date is about being responsible, all part of the agreement to be accountable. Support. You are part of a team irrespective of which department you work in. Each department in turn is part of a larger team, the organization you work for. The defining attribute of any successful team is the extent to which they support each other, work toward a commonly understood goal. Where a culture of support exists, the workplace will work much better and team goals get delivered. You can be supportive by helping others, by caring about what others are trying to achieve, partnering them in their quest for making it happen, but never doing so at the expense of your own priorities. And don't use your own priorities as an excuse for not supporting others. If you're a line manager, you must coach and mentor your team to be supportive of others. This is a key component of your line management role. Support is the opposite of isolated work behaviour or showboating. Support shows up when we truly care about those we work with and when we care about the work we do. Control emotions. Most of us have worked with that individual who gets angry, who sulks, or whose demeanour is one of criticism or aggression. Or maybe you have experienced colleagues who are anxious at work, cautious about speaking up, or those who are persistently negative. From our understanding of brain science, we know that when we have a heightened sense of emotional arousal, we don't give of our best, regardless of what the emotion is. When your emotional arousal is low, you have access to that part of the brain which helps you think clearly, be rational and solution-focused, and make more effective decisions as a result of better judgment. There is no business case for operating with heightened emotional arousal, such as fear, anger, impatience, or frustration. You are neither effective or in control when like this. And no one within your workplace is expected to work alongside someone who demonstrates these behaviours or a poor attitude. If you have attended one of our workshops, you will be familiar with the tools and techniques to support you manage your emotional state, keep calm, and be the very best you can be at work or at home with your family. Our techniques include 7-11 breathing, tensing and relaxing the muscles, getting at least 2.5 hours aerobic exercise each week, and using the CCO hierarchy of attitudes for managing your mindset each day. Here's what you need to know. Your mind cannot be anxious when the muscles in your body are relaxed and when you do regular 7-11 breathing exercises. Speak with one of the CCO coaches if you need more support with this agreement or any of the agreements that make your workplace work.